Welcome to my NFL Week 3 Power Rankings. Oh boy, this is really hard earlier in the season, but let's get to it. Last place, I have the Chicago Bears. They had the first overall pick last year, had a lot of hype going into the season. In the first two games, I think they are the worst team so far in the NFL. I think this is Justin Fields' last season as a Bear. That's what he looks like. 31, I have the Houston Texans, the second pick in the draft last year. That O-line is just terrible. The Colts had their way with the Texans all game long until it was garbage time, and when the Colts had it all in the bag, and they were just playing for the win. Oh boy, the Texans. Oh boy, the Texans. We're in the top 30 now, and we have the Arizona Cardinals. Even though they're in clear tank mode, I still think they're better than the Texans and the Bears. Blowing a 21-point lead to the Giants, obviously it means that they're in full-blown tank mode, but I think they're better than the Bears and the Texans. I think if they did play them, they would win against them. That's why I put them at 30th. 29th, I have the Carolina Panthers. They are having some major growing pains with Bryce Young at the quarterback. Their offense is putrid. They have a great defense against the Saints, but that offense, they're going to have to score in order to win anything. 28, I have the Denver Broncos. The Broncos finding creative ways to lose every week. I think Denver Broncos are easily a team that could move up, but they keep proving that they're going to find ways to lose every game. So that's why they're at 28. At 27, I have the New York Jets. Even though they won against the Bills, losing Aaron Rodgers and having Zach Wilson and that O-line, I don't expect much from the Jets. The Jets could easily move up, but I don't really have any good things to say about the Jets this year. At 26, I have the New York Giants. After getting smoked by Dallas and getting smoked by Arizona in the first two quarters, they came back and won. I put the Giants at 26 because I don't think the win against the Cardinals, the comeback against the Cardinals means anything, but if they win next week, I'd say it would certainly move up, but they're playing against the 49ers next week, so I don't think they're moving anywhere in this power rankings. At 25 of the Minnesota Vikings, I think they are one of the better 0-2 teams, but they got to learn to take control of to not fumble the ball at all. I think Vikings are, as long as they take care of the turnovers, they'll be a lot better of a team, but they're not. So I had to put them at in the top 25. At 24th, I have the New England Patriots, who's a bit peculiar. They had it close against the Eagles, but then lost by quite a bit to the Dolphins at home. I think the Patriots a bit more going to be more of a mid team this year. They're 0-2. I think they can beat I believe they play the Jets this week. I think that's going to be their first win this season. They should be able to get after Zach Wilson and get some sacks, and I think the Patriots should not at any point go higher than 15 this season. I think 24 is a pretty good spot for them. 23 is the Vegas Raiders. They did beat Denver, but then they lost big time to the Bills. I think the Raiders a bit more mid. I think honestly the Raiders will drop once we realize what kind of team they really are and not playing the Broncos. They only played the Broncos twice this year, and they've already played them once, so I don't expect much good things from the Raiders. At 22, I have the Indianapolis Colts, who could have won against the Jags, but rookie quarterback. But they came out and dominated the Texans. Give me some hope for the Colts this year. They do play the Ravens at Baltimore, and we'll see what kind of a team the Colts really are against them. Because the first week they played against the Jags as rookie quarterback, and then last week they dominated a bad Texans team. So when they play Baltimore, we'll see if they get blown out, and they're like, if they keep it close, then maybe. But if they win, I will definitely jump up the Colts way higher in the rankings. But I have to leave them at 22. It's mainly because there's a lot of uncertainty with the Colts. At 21, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-2, and I am a bit concerned that I would be hitting the panic button if I were the Bengals, because you're 0-2, and it's a different 0-2 than last year. Bengals lost Von Bell in free agency. They lost another defense player. I can't think of the name. Burrow is injured and everything. It's going to be a tough year for the Bengals to come back from 0-2 and make the playoffs, unlike last year. At 20, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. This is the highest ranked winless team. Because I think both of their losses were really close. They played really well against the Dolphins. They didn't play They played really well against the Titans until they choked it away. They got some minor humps, play better on defense, and have Justin Herbert ball out a little bit. I think they can do better, but they're a very easily beatable team. At 19, I do have the Tennessee Titans, who kind of mid. They barely lost to the Saints, but then they barely won against the Chargers. I think the Titans, mid team, their offense needs a whole lot of work. They got a great defense, and had them in low scoring games, which allowed them to almost win against the Saints and then beat the Chargers. They need to really improve on offense because defense can do so much, and typically defenses, if they're constantly having to be the strong horse of the team, and later in the season they get tired, and they'll be prone to a loss when their defense gives up and their offense can't do anything. At 18, I had the Cleveland Browns 1-1. I would have had them a bit higher, like a couple of spots higher, but they lost to the Steelers, so I make sure I stay below the Steelers. The Browns, they just lost Nick Chubb to a season-ending injury. If they had Chubb, they would be a great spot. But right now, without Chubb, they have a great defense, so they'll always be in every single game. It's going to be all about if Deshaun Watson can get them over the hump because their defense is going to have them in great spots every single game this year. It's all going to come down to Deshaun Watson, and he's still not back to Houston form. At 17, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose defense is a better offense than their offense. Steelers, boring as ever to watch. On whenever their offense takes the field, you might as well just take a nap until the other team gets the ball, because their Steelers defense is the more exciting and more likely to score than their offense, as proven as the last game they played. The Steelers are firing. The Steelers have a Matt Canada problem, and it is very evident as the last game. At 16, I have the Green Bay Packers, who obliterated the Bears, but then choked a game to the Falcons. The Packers are dealing with some injuries right now. I think the Packers could easily move up into the top 10. You just gotta win some games, get their team together, and see who they really are with Jordan Love. I think they're a pretty good team. Just 16 right now, just because of the injuries, and a little bit more. There's still some uncertainty with Jordan Love and the Packers. At 15, I had the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did beat the Colts opening week, and then tried their hardest to lose to the Chiefs, and they succeeded in that by not scoring at all in the red zone, despite being one of the best red zone offenses last year. And really a testament to Kansas City's defense. But if you Jacksonville, there's a lot of concern there. If you can't score in the red zone, they just end up going 9. They got 9 points off 3 field goals. But say if one of them were a touchdown, it'd been a lot closer, and then you could have went for the field goal there at the end to beat the Chiefs. But they didn't. And of course, if there were 2 of them, they would obviously would have won. Jaguars, a bit questionable. They could have easily lost the Colts, but the Colts sort of gave it to them there at the end on the 4th quarter. And the Chiefs, they could have won, but they didn't. And it was at home in Jacksonville. So, sort of had to put them at 15. It's kind of questionable. A lot of question marks there with the Jags. It's week 3, and after only 2 weeks, it's a bit hard to gauge these teams. At 14 are the Lions. They beat Kansas City in Kansas City, and then lose to Seattle and Detroit. The Lions, they're still without Jameson Williams, so they don't have the offensive power there, but they definitely need to improve on defense, because their defense looked great against Kansas City because all their receivers dropped the balls in that game. It's a bit different here in playing Seattle when their receivers actually catch the ball, and so it shows a bit of ineptitude on the Detroit defense. You gotta improve on defense. That was the main problem last year. Brian Branch can help fix. Brian Branch and C.J. Gardner-Johnson can fix that defense. Just wait a little bit, see if that doesn't. See if they can improve on defense. Just defense, and then Jameson Williams could probably most likely help them a lot better on offense. 13 of the Washington Commanders were a more surprising 2-0 team. They did beat the Cardinals, and they did beat the Broncos, and they're way down there on my power rankings. But the 2-0, I had to give credit where credit is due. So, Commanders sitting at 13. We'll see if they're 3-0 after next week. The 12 have the New Orleans Saints, whose offense is putrid, but their defense keep them in the game. Will always keep them in the game. It's going to be all about their offense. But as I said, the same thing with the Titans. We're having to rely on their defense all season, and then eventually by the end of the season, defense is going to give out because their offense is going 3-and-out, making them real tired. And it comes towards the end of the season, the defense is going to end up sucking because their offense has been sucking all year. And I think the Saints just need to play a good. Saints, they're 2-0, but you gotta look at their competition. And they played both teams. They played Panthers, Titans. Their defenses have been great, but it's just their offense has been just a smidgen better. So we'll see how they do against a really good offense. Just gotta wait and see. 11, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another 2-0 team. I have to give credit where credit is due. Baker is willing those. Baker and Mike Evans have been willing that team to victory against the Vikings and the Bears, but they're both bad teams that they did beat. So I can't really put them in the top 10, but I have them high as 11. Just a lot of question marks there with the Buccaneers. We'll see what they do against good to great competition, and see if they belong there. At 10, I have the Seattle Seahawks. We're in the top 10 now. Seattle, a lot of question marks there on the first game against the Rams, but then they answer a lot of questions there against the Lions, proving I think Geno is legit. Seattle, I think this is where they're going to be probably for the whole rest of the year. I think they will make the playoffs as a wild card. I think what we're seeing from Seattle is what we're going to expect from Seattle all year long. Good, but not great. So, we'll see. They're at 10. I think they'll probably hover around this spot for the rest of the year. At 9, I had the Rams. They were to beat the Seahawks handedly, and then they kept it kind of close with the 49ers. I think their new receiver, Puka Nacua, is a great addition to the team, and I think the Rams are proving a lot of doubters wrong, and this is all without Cooper Kupp. We'll see if when Cooper Kupp arrives, we can see the Rams back towards their Super Bowl form. Although it could be just a two-week success. Although one thing to add is that their offensive line is a lot better than last year. So, could be a great explanation for why they are much better this year compared to last year. At 8, I have the Atlanta Falcons, 2-0, and just had a big win against the Packers. Falcons, still so much question marks. They improved greatly on defense, and it's a part of why they're 2-0 this year, is having actually a good defense. And then they have a mid-tier offense. Desmond Ridder is questionable, but they have a great run game with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. I think the Falcons can greatly improve throughout the season. I think, though, maybe they'll move to mid during the mid-season, but late season, I think the Falcons should improve. But right now, I have them at 8 as the 8 best team right now. At 7, I have the Buffalo Bills, who just lost big time on Monday Night Football against the Jets, and then redeemed themselves this past Sunday by completely blowing out the Raiders and showing Bills football. The only thing though is that they do lack consistency, so it's this team is more prone to fall in the rankings, they're more likely to fall in my rankings than they are to go up in the rankings. Right now, Buffalo is at 7. At 6, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, who went down there and beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville right after a 1-point loss against the Lions. The Chiefs, I do have some question marks with them. Their receiving core, other than Travis Kelce. It's going to be interesting if teams are able to contain Travis Kelce. Are the wide receivers going to be able to step up and make the plays? Kansas City's defense, they got Chris Jones. That defense will always keep them in the game, and Patrick Mahomes will always keep them on their heels and keep the defense on their heels. So we'll see what Kansas City does. They might have a sort of Super Bowl hangover right now, but we'll see. I think they'll improve later. They'll improve greatly. Just gotta wait and see what the Chiefs are able to do. At 5, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, who has blown leads the last 2 games, but are able to keep that lead. So and win. They had a great big lead against the Patriots and then squandered most of it, but still came with the win. They had a big lead against the Vikings and squandered most of it, but still came to win. It's going to be a bit questionable if that's what they're going to do all season, and they don't do really good in the first half, and in the second half they do just the same. The Eagles are probably going to have some growing pains after losing both their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. Let's see if Nick Sirianni can get them going back into their old Super Bowl self last year. There's a bit more growing pains. I believe the Eagles can overcome them. At 4, I have the Baltimore Ravens, who crushed the Texans in their first game, and then beat the Bengals last week by a field goal. The Ravens are already accruing injuries left and right. So this might be the highest they would be ranked for the whole year because their injuries are already pulling them back. But this is the best Baltimore team start since when Lamar Jackson won the MVP in 2019. A lot of positives here for the Ravens. At 3, I have the Miami Dolphins, whose first game was a very close shootout win against the Chargers, and then they handled business in Foxborough against the Patriots. I think this is the Dolphins' year to do something, and they have proven it. As long as Tua is healthy and out there, I think the Dolphins are easily a top 5 team. At 2, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who back-to-back weeks have completely destroyed the New York teams. I think Dallas's defense is gonna win them a lot of games this year, and as long as the offense is semi-decent, they're gonna at least win 10 games easily. And they're showing it by obliterating the Giants. A little bit closer against the Jets, but they still handled business as usual. Next week is against the Cardinals. I think it should be another blowout win there. At 1, I have the San Francisco 49ers, who absolutely blew out the Steelers' first game. It's a bit closer against the Rams, but I think that was a bit more of a divisional matchup, probably, and kept it close. Their defense on par with the Cowboys. Their offense is better. What I say is better than the Cowboys because they have more weapons. And I think Brock Purdy's Brock Purdy's not going to throw as many interceptions as Dak. So you have that. 49ers, they're playing the Giants. We'll see how that game goes. I think they should be able to blow out the Giants, but hey, Anything is possible. So we'll see. This is after only 2 weeks. It's hard to gauge these teams. I think about week 8 is usually when we can get a good detail. It's right after, get up that trade deadline, get some injuries out of the way, and I think we should be able to tell where all these teams really actually are. But that's the end of the video. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment about my power rankings, and I will see you tomorrow for